The next item we'll take out of order is item 7.10
And should we take that with 10.7?
and 10.7. You want me to read it?
Let's just, my understanding is that the administration wishes to withdraw 7.10, just for a technical issue with the order. It was replaced with 10.7, is that correct?
It is.
Okay, excellent.
And item 10.7 is a request of the mayor requesting the appropriation of $313,738 from the salary contingency account to various E911 personal services accounts to fund a collective bargaining settlement with SEIU Local 888, E911 Call Taker Dispatcher Union.
Excellent. Madam Mayor?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. And thank you for the opportunity to address you all this evening. I'm here to submit your approval of a new union agreement for our hardworking E911 telecommunicators. Thank you, President Ewan Campen, and thank you to the full council. I also want to welcome everyone here, and especially members of the SEIU Local 888 who are here this evening or watching from home. Thank you for taking part as we submit the new union contract that we developed with you through your union leadership. In fact, actually, if you could stand, if you're from Local Union 888, so we can give you a round of applause and recognition for your service to the city. Every new union contract agreement is important. I'll note this is the fourth agreement my administration has hammered out in collaboration with our city workers over the past 2.5 years. We haven't established a strong new contracts for our custodians, our crossing guards, and our fire alarm union, all hardworking employees now who do critical work for the city at updated competitive wages and with strong benefits. And we now put forth the new E911 contract before you, but this is no run-of-the-mill standard increase. No, this contract not only breaks new ground, it breaks the system and then builds it back up better. Let me explain in very clear terms how. Workers in Somerville, like those across the nation, face persistent gender inequality. National data shows time and again that women are underpaid for doing the same work. And it's important to note that this is particularly true for women of color. Too many people are living paycheck to paycheck or in poverty. And the heads of those households are disproportionately women. It is our duty and my mission to root out the inequity in Somerville wherever we find it. So when it comes to E911, I will not mince my words. For decades, our E911 workers have been almost exclusively women, women who are underpaid. For decades, these vital professionals have been answering our emergency calls. They de-escalate us to pull out much-needed information when we can't think straight. They deftly triage our calls to police, ambulance, and fire. They expertly dispatch help in crises where seconds matter. And for decades, these professionals entrusted to carry out the protocols that can save lives have been paid less. They've been paid less for equal work when compared to other public safety professionals doing like work both in Somerville and in the region. Each time their contract has been renegotiated and upped, that inequity has been carried forward in real time. Never called out, never corrected, over and over again. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I'm determined that on my watch, we will not perpetuate unequal pay for equal work. Somerville can and will do better. This contract is Somerville doing better. This contract is Somerville being a disruptor to the broken status quo. This contract is Somerville not just breaking ground, but breaking the system so we can build it back better. Let me tell you how. When we went to the negotiating table, we were prepared with data and details from our wage compensation study that looked at all city jobs citywide. This study gives us objective data and information, first on what each position's duties actually are. You would be surprised how many job descriptions needed an update. Then the study tells us what kind of compensation this type of actual work is getting paid in Somerville in similar jobs and around the region. We've taken heat for taking extra months to conduct this study. But let me tell you, the data will make a difference for every worker for years to come. For E911, with this kind of data, it was easy to see that although our fire alarm union workers do very similar work as our E911 workers, fire alarm has nonetheless had higher pay and better compensation structures for decades. It was hard to find an explanation for that. That was not directly or indirectly based on gender. The skills required are essentially the same. The work is essentially the same. Just who's doing the work is different. Fire alarm has been a traditionally male-dominated unit. To be clear, we don't believe that anyone over the years sat down and said, hey, let's pay the men more than the women for equal work. No, bias works more quietly. Bias works out of direct view. Bias has a way of just creeping into decisions and distorting what seems right in ways that we are not always aware of. Bias led to these highly skilled professionals being paid less for like work and being diminished by the title call taker. Call taker, think about it. It's easy to pay a skilled professional less without even reflecting upon it when you label their complex work as simply answering a phone. So when it came to the table, our goals was more than how we update the contract to reflect today's cost of living and competitive pay. Our bar was, how do we ensure we have gender bias-free equal pay for equal work? And we did that. This contract doesn't just relatively increase compensation based on the last contract. It brings E911 worker pay into line with like positions over fire alarm in Somerville and in similar public safety roles across the region. It builds in not only cost of living adjustments, but higher starting salaries, higher step increases, in some cases more than 9% and 22% higher than the last contract. We added differentials and stipends that mirror those in the fire alarm contract. And the contract introduces strong new benefits, including access to our new family medical leave program coming soon, which will offer 8 weeks of pay for qualified leaves. The contract also increases vacation time, creates a unit-wide sick leave bank for the first time, and establishes wellness release time for preventative medical care and mental health appointments. And finally, and most importantly, the contract has also codified a more appropriate job title. The contract delivers the job title their parent union is fighting to establish for all these workers. They are no longer call takers, They are now emergency telecommunicators, a title that properly reflects their vital, modern public safety responsibilities accurately. I love Somerville's fight, Somerville's grit, Somerville's compassion, sense of justice, and commitment to leave no one behind. I am honored and grateful to serve a community where this type of change is not only something we dream of, it's work we get done. So I want to recognize that this type of change may be something I want desperately, but it happens because we all work together to achieve it. And rest assured, I'm looking to work together to allow more of this to come. We did that wage compensation study for the full city, and we are currently using it to seek proper, fair, bias-free, and competitive compensation for all workers in our SMEA negotiations. More to come on that. But tonight, I submit this contract to you for your consideration. I do so as a respectful request for your approval of the work of Local 888 Union leadership and my administration. But frankly, I do it also as a celebration. I do this to recognize that this is our community taking a step forward towards progress for all that we value and pursue. I urge you to approve this contract. Thank you. And
Thank you.
Mr. President, I'm wondering if we could also let our Local 888 speak.
Of course, by all
Thank
means,
you.
welcome.
Good
Welcome.
evening. My name's Tom McKeever. I'm the president of SEIU Local 888. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening on behalf of Emergency 911 telecommunicators. I'd like to thank Mayor Ballantyne and the council president for your leadership and partnership with unions in and around the city of Somerville. This is a special day on behalf of our dispatchers to recognize our dispatchers as first responders, and by your leadership of the city of Somerville, dispatchers are invisible partners to the sworn and take pride in their efforts in providing safety for the city of Somerville. They take pride in their efforts to ensure police, fire, and EMS return safe to their homes at the end of their shifts. They take pride in helping and assisting the residents and constituents of Somerville. Local 888 will continue to work hard on behalf of the dispatchers and will continue to forge our relationships with the city and state governments. Local 888 will continue to push the conversation for pay equity, pay parity, and pension reclassification on behalf of the emergency telecommunicators here in Somerville. Local 888 recognizes your sacrifice and honors your efforts in the communities that you serve. Thank you for the opportunity, and this is, again, a very, very special day on behalf of these dispatchers, and appreciate all your guidance and support.
Thank you.
Good evening to the President. Good evening, everybody. My name is Susan Levy. I'm the President of the Emergency Telecommunicators, and this is the Vice President, Christine. Just wanted to say a few words. First of all, to thank Mayor Ballantyne for her words. They were awesome, well-deserved, long-awaited. So on behalf of our group, our 14 members right now, we are obviously in support of the mayor's request to fund our collective bargaining agreement and to say thank you again to the mayor and her staff. I say our current dispatchers because this contract makes a significant progress in recognizing the value and the critical work that we do now, whether it's responding to callers reporting a crime, a fire, an accident, or desperately trying to calm someone threatening self-harm. We are simultaneously working to coordinate response services. We are the first responders for the city of Somerville, and we have been. I say future dispatchers because the contract will help ensure the city is positioned to recruit and retain new dispatchers as other cities struggle to do that. And finally, I say thank you to Mayor Ballantyne, her staff, to the council, for the commitment to closing the equity gap among the city employees. E911 is staffed, as the mayor said, predominantly by female employees, and for far too long, our wages have lagged far behind our male colleagues in the fire alarm unit, though our duties are comparable. This contract at last rectifies that inequity. The terms of this agreement are urgently needed to demonstrate the city's commitment both to public safety and to pay equity today and going forward. We would also like to thank you, the City Council, for listening to us, for allowing us to speak, and we respectfully asking for your support. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you all. I just want to say, this is a big deal. Since I've been on the council, this is an issue that all of us have been hearing about, angry about, advocating for, and getting it done is a really big deal. So thank you to the administration and obviously to the people who do this work. It is incredibly important and often invisible work. And for any of us that have ever had to call 911, we know how important your work is. So thank you. And thank you again to Mayor Ballantyne for finally getting this done. Councilor Wilson.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. President. I just want to add on to what you said. A few months back, I had to call 911 over a shooting, and pretty much one of the most stressful things you can imagine. They were, as every other time I've called, just total professionals. I couldn't be happier to see their excellence recognized here with this new contract. Thanks.
All right, let's take this vote.
We don't need to take a roll call.
Excellent. This item is approved. Congratulations, everybody.